This is class number 7 of the 2015 Spring Business Growth Group. Right now, we've got Julie, Anya, and Diane, and me. We're missing Guy and Vicky at this point. There's Guy. We're not missing Guy anymore. Here he is. And it is June 18th, 2015. Hi, guys.
Hi.
You guys can do a thing during the break.
Okay.
Okay. So, sharing, a little bit of sharing. As usual, kind of your business highs and lows. And anything from the constellation, if you had one, that you would like to share. I'm going to.
One thing at a time.
3 minutes each.
Is this really?
Who's doing the minutes for us? The mess forms. Any of you guys? Oh, that was from Anya.
I did update my status.
So who would like to get started? Ooh. Ooh. Yes, Guy.
I have updates. I have a client.
Yay!
Whoa!
Congrats.
Dare I ask?
What, how much? or-
Pain?
Pain, yes!
Pain
Pain!
clients!
Pain!
Woohoo!
I'm not gonna ask how much. I don't care how much.
Yeah, no, neither do I really. You know, so what have given 2 sessions, been paid for 1, had the second one last night. I think she was really, really pretty blown away and impressed, talking Vortex here. So, and she was already kind of like a Vortex kind of like, so so she actually wants to do several sessions to go through this one issue, like all the way through everything I can do.
Oh.
So, so that'll be going on for some period of time.
Cool.
I don't know, maybe another 4 or 5 sessions or something like that. I am doing 2 little talks at Burning Man, one on open relationships, another one on the meaning of life.
This is my topic.
You know, it's
Show
okay.
the opening scene from The Meaning of Life, the Monty Python movie.
I can't remember it now.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
It'll take me 5 minutes. Monty Python aficionados have to do.
Will you say this on the
Yeah.
break? Because I want to hear it too.
Okay. Fish in the fish tank.
So, Lowe's not too bad. Just need to schedule more coaching sessions with Leslie and just need to do that. So, didn't do the constellations, so no feedback there. Didn't do the constellations, so no
Okay.
feedback there.
Okay. Anything else you want to share? Is that it? Okay, good. Why don't you ask for the next person to go?
Vicky.
Oh, boy, I was in some really lows for the last 5 days, really lows, questioning the whole meaning of life. And just
Have to go to his workshop now.
Right. So, yeah, I was just like, am I totally in the wrong field? I've been doing it for 25 years, when I quit, I was just in whatever, the collapse. And I just broke through before I talked to Lucy, and the next day.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I just woke up in a different space, it's just okay. And it's one of those where I can't tell you that I found the answer in some magic, formula or some meditation or whatever. I don't know what happened in sleep. It just was like a
Moves through.
It moves through, all the pieces came together, and all of a sudden it just felt like, oh, thank God. It's not all falling apart. It was actually a transition.
So now you want to be a chemist in Guatemala?
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Alaska to find a bushman. It's not 100% through it, but it's a lot through it. So my enthusiasm for life came back is kind of how it was. So So it was really fun. So today I taught a class and I've had about 3 new ideas about how to implement a change, just to add new workshops and to add, to rectify some things that are going on with my students at the moment. And it just felt so good that the ideas were there and that they were real and that they were just like, oh, that's easy. Oh, of course, that has to be there. And, I just felt like back on my game. And what's interesting is I think I pieced together some of it. And it has to do with this spiritual teacher, one of my spiritual teachers that died. It was like one of my most important people that I worked with for 25 years. And on Friday was the healing service for him. And
Essentially a memorial service.
a memorial
in
service.
your-
They
in
called
your-
it, yeah,
That's fine.
they made a big deal about not calling it that. So
I understand, just so
Yeah.
we can translate.
we can translate memorial
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
And so, and I went into a funk, after that. And then when I came out of it today, that's when I could look back and say, oh, wow, it had a lot to do with that. Because I had pretty much pledged allegiance, to this guy for a long time, but I pulled away 5 years ago. And I had made an unconscious agreement that I wouldn't go into competition with him by opening up another
that's the
institute
piece.
in any close vicinity. And he even said out loud about 5 years ago, just about when I was leaving, probably the reason I left, is that he asked me not to teach classes in a close vicinity. And because
Wow.
of my allegiance to him, my love for him, I kind of said yes, but I wasn't really in agreement to that. I was like, how dare you? No, there's plenty for everybody, And I wasn't. And so that's all of a sudden I realized I was feel like I was in a complete, like a family thing, like I couldn't go forward or build my business
Wow.
because of that. So all of a sudden I got it today and I felt like, oh,
Oh,
wow, I
wow.
get to let that go. He's gone.
Yeah.
Yay.
Wow.
So that was cool. So we'll see what happens now, but I feel relieved and I feel a lot better and I feel, I don't know, I feel like this vastness, that I have so much more to play on. So that's cool.
Before we go to the next person, I just want to use that as a just to repeat on a teaching. Remember when we were talking about the different kinds of problems, ecology, alignment, and developmental issues? And that developmental issues are generally part of some kind of a cycle, right? That, have enthusiasm, and then, growing into, and then there's the stage of some kind of disillusionment or doubt, stumbles of some sort or another, or somehow it's not making sense in the way it seemed to be making sense here. And then when we move through that, we can get to something more like wisdom and recommitment, a deeper, more mature kind of commitment than it was back here. Right? Because how many of us have had enthusiastic starts and then we hit here and we go, I'm not actually that interested in this thing
Mm-hmm.
as of when I started, right? But for something that's really going to go through the whole process. So, and then there are big ones, and then there are little epicycles, right? Along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Where we're always, there's always another version of it. So it sounds like you just hit this
Yeah.
this phase.
And I think I've been in this for at least 5 years since I left that group.
Wow.
I've not been able to move forward.
Right, and it wasn't able to move forward because of now we're in family constellations land,
Right.
your loyalty
I
issues.
wanted to do
Yeah, yeah.
it.
And the sense of guilt we have when we don't belong, right?
wow.
And I'm gonna add one extra thing, is that you could still have that even though he died. Death is actually not terribly relevant to this stuff.
Yeah, no, I did.
But Mike, can you imagine, he crossed the veil and he said, oh, Vicki, I never should have asked that.
Yeah.
And some part of your spirit felt that.
Immediately, that's kind of how it felt when I found out he was dead, because I've been mad at him for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just, it was
Yeah.
just like all of that in one moment, forgiven, forgotten,
So it wasn't his dying that made that happen, but his spirit really seen you in some way, or some thing, yeah. Loyalty stuff's very intense.
Intense.
Okay, call on the next person.
All right. You.
Yeah, I've been busy. Busy,
You
busy.
have been busy.
I have been very busy to the point of I gotta trim down on some sleep, stay up late to get stuff done. With Bodywork, but I got a new client, a music festival that I'm managing, but then this week I got another website thrown to me
Excellent.
from a friend who's an art director who needed somebody to do the technical work. And he admonished me that I need to raise my prices by at least 40%. He was shocked by what I was charging. I even upped it a little bit for this like medical device company. And the great part of this was that I remembered, he sent me all of the design files that he had already beautifully laid out. I just have to make it all work technically. And this was the favorite part of my career back in the day, was when I worked with an art director who was super talented, and I, just got to take all this beautiful stuff and had enough of a design sense that I could make calls along the way so that they liked working with me. And so both of these clients, I love getting to do what I'm doing for them. And the great thing is, so I haven't touched the website for my tech work, which is one of my goals for next week, because I'm working. But these two clients are going to mightily contribute to fleshing out that portfolio and that site.
Awesome.
And that will look good. And just rolling on everything and feeling good. And I did miss both of our group calls, but I like both of my reasons for why I missed them.
That's the most important thing.
I love my excuses.
One I was in a craniosacral class, and the other I had run off to a hot springs camping trip with a dear girlfriend.
Just had to.
We've been trying for a year, and we made it happen.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Which one did you go to?
up to Harvard. But we just managed to carve it out in tight
Wow.
little period of time and did it. So I feel like I had real summer vacation. Yeah, had some really good classwork and some treats with friends, with colleagues. And my constellation with business was like in this floaty, dreamy, luxurious place of feeling like it was like I had constructed an environment for it. It's sort of an experiment to let it see what it's doing in that space. And that it's confident that I'm taking care of business and it doesn't really need to do anything. It's like, okay, all right, cool.
So FYI, all of you probably heard this at some point or another, but when you get to the point where you're so busy you kind of can't keep up, that is the time to raise your rates. That's a sure sign that it's time to raise rates.
Yep. And let go of the lower paying gigs.
Exactly. Or, find a space for pro bono or less expensive, but maybe in a more constrained way, if that's part of your value around your work, to have that available to people, if that's important to people. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could be paid really well for 20 hours of work a week and the other 20 we can give back to the community? And that would be really super awesome, right? That'd be nice. So. Excellent. Call upon the next person.
Ty, you're
Okay. Feels so good to be back. I was really sad to have missed not one but two. But I really worked hard to be here tonight.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I had to work hard on myself and Andrew, my partner, got to go up today to the camp thing, and he was like in an RV filled with really awesome people, and it was going to be like party bus, like caravan to the thing.
We'll
But
try to be party
yeah,
bus.
totally.
Or
I'm
big.
like, I'm going to get it on the way back. It's fine. It's fine. So I feel like my highs right now are that I am getting vacation. Like that I'm focusing more on slowing down and enjoying the weather. And this is not something I've done in the past in my business. In my 7 years of private practice, like I never saw, I mean, I would take little trips, but I never saw summer as a time for me to honor my own cycle and slow down and just really enjoy and like let go of work in that way that I was holding it. So that's been my kind of my high of feeling like I've put so much into my business that it's kind of running on autopilot right now. Like I've got my regular folks and they're just like, yep, I come once a month and that's how I'm conditioned and that's what I do and I pay for a 3-pack and it's like I've developed this very steady stream of income so that it's calmed me in a way that I can finally drop in and be like, I can actually have like some summer vacation feeling time where I'm like slowing down and really like pushing work kind of to the edge. I'm still managing and putting my attention and focus there, but I'm just not like holding it like here the way I was holding it before. So that feels really good. I would think a low for me would be that, it's like feeling that pull of like, I would like to be focusing and doing the work, that the assignments and the stuff, but that's kind of, so then there's like this judgment about me being procrastinating or like having something, but I finally had this conversation with myself and I'm like, no, this is just what's happening and it's actually okay. Like I don't have to beat myself up about it. And that's really like a huge relief to have that, spaciousness around it.
The main thing that I get the impression that you've been getting from this is the healing around alignment in business.
Mm-hmm.
And that you'll be able to take forward when you're ready to move, be in a new place and get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then my constellation is really cool to discover that there was something that came first before the heart of my business. Like the heart of my business was looking at something behind me. And it, like we didn't really get to what it was, and that's fine. But just having that that curiosity now about like, well, what is that thing that I need to look at before I look at my business? Like, what's that way that I need to fill myself up and replenish? So it's definitely food for thought. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here, even though like I know that there's like a huge crazy party going on up north and I'm like I made peace with it and I'm here and I'm really here, so yay.
There's more good things to do in life than we can do.
Yes. Yeah, there's always going to be more than where we can be and what we can do.
That's an abundance framework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Instead there's only one crappy thing to choose.
Let's see. Business highs. It's so funny. I feel like I've been working on the same question, which is more about getting comfortable with. I think what came out in the heart of my business is it really wants it's more interested in what I'm looking at out in the world and not when I'm putting my focus on it. It seemed to be uncomfortable and nauseous. But wanted to be near me and know that I was, and wanted me to know that it was there, but wanted me to be looking out. And I keep getting that information in different variations.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that I've been very busy lately, so I don't have any distractions around income. And it just seems consistently clear to me that my work is to be, how do I want to put this, exploring and continuing to do creative expression. I have a show on Sunday that I've been writing for the last 8 weeks, and I just love that process. It's tremendously transformative and fun, and I think if I were to sort of, in the past, like in the last 2 years, I thought that I should try to figure out how to make that work like business, like,
Money out of hand.
yeah, and I keep very clearly feeling like I don't want to give it that burden, and that I would rather enjoy the fact that I have the space to do that. And I also feel very intuitively that it will come to some fruition at some point in a way that I can't predict. So my thinking I need to figure out how I'm going to get somewhere with it is not serving me or the business. Like, I really would prefer that I'm not looking at it going, okay, how's this going to work out? So that's great. And I started a blog, which has been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been a good way to channel some energy. Yeah, the story's still unfolding.
Have you ever done any video stuff?
What do you mean video stuff?
Blogs, vlogs. Since you like performance, and you've got this blog going.
I mean, I have a lot of video content generated already. I also make videos as part of my other business, but
But I was thinking, I mean, usually what blogs are like are 2 or 3 minute little things, right? Rather than writing it out in 2 or 3 paragraphs.
Mm.
So plunk down in front of your webcam and do it
right.
a little rough.
I have mixed feelings about that. It has occurred to me, but yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not as drawn to it. It feels like there's some blocks that come up for me around that
Okay,
rather than an opening
okay,
at this point.
fair enough.
But yeah, it's someone was just mentioning their own blog recently, and my curiosity was definitely piqued. But for now, I really am enjoying the constrained short blog posts.
That's okay, that's just fine. Just always curious about the other brainstorming kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Could I just tack on a little bit onto mine? I forgot something. Just real quick, 30 seconds.
I'm kidding, yeah.
So we worked on constellations for Father last time we were here.
Yeah, those were amazing constellations we did. I do hope you guys watched the video.
Yeah, and my father was my divine father representative was kind of shaky, and Leslie created a representative for Source that helped shore up my divine father. And as she was standing in the position of Source, she had a feeling of like Divine Mother coming in. And at the end of the evening, we chatted, and I said, oh, well, that's interesting, because I got a download earlier this week to go see Amma, who, from the Vortex point of view, is sort of like she's a direct incarnation of Divine Mother. So anyway, I went to see her, and had a great time, but like had a very distinct, like palpable, like experience of her kind of coming in to my field in a really far more powerful and palpable way, and kind of got like pretty deeply impacted and carved out like somehow. And I'm attributing it to her because I was like, I didn't do anything else. It was like, it was pretty clear. It was like a, kind of thing. So that was cool. That was it.
Awesome. My check-in. It's funny what you're saying. I've been nose to the grindstone. And today, once I got done making sure I knew I was ready for this, I just could not make myself work. And this doesn't happen to me. I can always make myself work. I can make myself not work. So I went and did errands. I bought plants. I started putzing on the patio. I sat down on my computer a few times and I said, screw this.
Yes.
And it was so pleasurable. And I eventually did sit down and start working on a newsletter. And without thinking about it, like I knew I had to put out a newsletter, but then I went, oh yeah, that's right. I really want to redesign this with my new look. And then that became really creative, like to a pretty good look. So I wrote an article today. You'll get a law of attraction for grown-ups.
Oh.
Wow.
It's over against the clients who come in and say, can you please make me manifest a winning lottery ticket? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. Please make me have client flow without doing any marketing at all. No, I can't do that. And just noting that there's a certain kind of child who had needs not go met and the grown-ups didn't show up for them. It's still stuck there. There's a regression there, that use of the law of attraction, like begging for the adults to show up, right?
Like take care of me. I can't take care of myself kind of thing.
And then, what is the law of attraction in a space of dignified, weighty, creative, sort of, manifesting as part of creating, making, of building, of shaping, of being an artist. So anyway, so that was fun. The other thing I noticed in working on the conference, more and more, I'm noticing to my amazement that what I'm really about is helping other people be their best and managing people's issues and personalities and stuff like that, like working with the emotional system, which I've had a story for a really long time that I suck at. And that's an external confirmation of this, don't worry, it wasn't just inside my head.
Okay.
But it's been kind of cool and kind of wonderful and really interesting, so.
Right. Because my 2 cents is that that's not my experience of you at all.
Yeah, you didn't see me in some other context, Sonia.
Okay, well, whatever you did, good job.
Yeah, no, there's, I got thrown out of the parish. I've had my experience.
Wow.
So anyway, and my sister comes on Monday for 2 weeks, and I'm really looking forward to that. I really like being with my sister.
Yay.
So that feels good to me. Few little bit of housekeeping. I was so astonished to pull up the outline and go, oh, this is class number 7. This is the second to last class. Who worked time? Who did that? I'm just astonished. So, part of today is going to be about kind of moving towards that completion a little bit. In terms of logistics, what that means is if you haven't used 4 of your sessions yet, you need to get cracking. Because you really only have a month left to use your remaining sessions, of which 6 is the total. Some of you have 1 extra because I canceled on you at the last minute, and my agreement is that you get that extra session if I cancel on you at the last minute. So just get on it, my lovelies. Please, because I'm such a pushover, I will see you all in the last week 3 times, which makes my life hell, and it means my other clients have no times. So please don't use my good nature. Spread it out, it really helps me out. Reminding folks to call me on the telecall line. And then, and to send me reports gotten a little summary about reports. Some people. And it bumps up the quality of the call. I just can check in with the people who do and the people who don't, and the outcomes that they get. It's just a stronger experience. And it's almost less that I have something to look at, but it kind of pre-primes you. Instead of you get on the call and you're like, okay, I need to shift from the fact that I was just seeing a client and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you've already sort of found your headspace for it. So it just really helps you. It leverages the money you spent to be in a session with me. Partnering going adequately, even though we have a no-show here.
Well, I forgot to, so that means that none of us.
It didn't
Guy
happen.
showed up.
I
Guy,
showed-
did you call in?
I called in a little late, and no one was on the line.
Oh, you guys are bad. You have to please do cancel on each other if you're not gonna be there.
But
I'm so
I had also kind of,
I just
I had
completely forgot
overbooked.
about it.
the last half hour because I had forgotten about it myself. But I was there for the first part. But anyway, it was, yeah, there's,
Okay, so, we need new groups, so it was you three and you two, theoretically. Theoretically. Did anything happen over there? A little bit?
Not
Once?
since the last,
We had
We
one
had
big
one.
call.
Okay.
We just couldn't get
And
together.
couldn't
Last
schedule
week. We
another
tried,
one.
we had a lot of emails going back and forth.
So raise your hand if you've been in a threesome more than once. Only on you.
wait, no,
Maybe you? No?
maybe, I thought.
I don't
I can't
remember.
remember.
I don't remember.
No, because it was just us two the first time, and then through some message.
Okay, so Anya and Guy. Okay?
Okay.
Let's put you two together.
Okay. Do you have my number?
Your conference number?
No, my personal number. Because
I
if
don't
it's
know
just
that
the
I
two
do.
of us, we don't have to call in the conference.
I don't know that I do.
Okay.
And again, I mean, this is a setup, but if you have oh my God, I want to talk to Guy about blah, blah, blah. You guys are free. This is like a mastermind or poly group. You're free to reach out to anyone who you feel attracted to in terms of your business and having those kinds of conversations. Right? And use it for what you need. If you need someone to step into something, Constellation-y. I'm feeling really anxious about my website right now. Would someone be willing to represent my anxiety? Give me a little information. I mean, or you just need to talk about something for a little while, or flat out advice. You need to vent about, something that made you really cranky, whatever it is. Just use it for whatever you need. Okay. Anything else we need to check in about?
Are we happy the Warriors won?
The Warriors won?
It was just like all around me. I almost feel like I was just sucked into the vortex of it just from proximity,
I tried to care. I watched a little bit, and basketball. It just doesn't. I watch it, and it's just really tall men in a small court with hoops that don't seem very high, given how tall they are.
It wasn't always that way.
They're so big, and the court looks so small on the screen. And then you watch soccer, and you're like, oh my God, it's such a big. Soccer is the same thing for me, it's sort of the opposite. But then I'm a lunatic. I like baseball. Everyone thinks baseball is boring. So.
Baseball's not boring.
What?
Baseball's not boring.
No, it's not boring. It's America's game.
What do
Never played
you
it.
tune into? Like, what's the nuance for you
The
in
metaphysics of
baseball?
It's the philosophy, man. It's the existentialism. It's the poetry of America.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just.
Ditto.
I was too.
And it was my first boyfriend who really liked baseball, and he got me into it. Oh, God. I enjoy
Home
baseball.
run is just cool.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. And I can even kind of drop football, but I won't watch it for long because it's a little too violent.
A little. Oof.
But I can appreciate the strategy of it. Interesting to watch. Okay, so, was thinking about what's the right topic for today. The second half is our final constellation work on money. So we'll be moving into that. We've done money and with respect to infinite worth, we had that conversation. Last time we talked about money and culture, and it really, if you haven't watched that and at least internalize the experience for yourself, we did some really powerful work on having a proper stance with respect to what money means and is in our culture, the cultural field of money. And instead of giving it the finger or giving into it, what is a good, healthy stance with respect to it? So, and we did some really cool stuff with that. We healed the patriarchy. We did not. Not our job to do that.
A little too
It was
big of a
really
job.
So tonight it's going to be your specific entanglements in your ancestral field around issues around money. That's what we're going to do in second half. If you had somebody who'd done somebody wrong, or there was a major loss of something or other. Okay, but first, I was thinking about y'all and this particular moment, and shut a little bit so Vicky has a little bit of a better view. Helping you are all at such different places in your businesses, right? And regardless of whether we're right at the beginning or we've got a semi-mature business, there's a way in which the day-to-day of life can make it really hard to get the 10,000-foot view. And then get a little bit of a sense of, what do I actually want to do, really? Instead of the tyranny of the urgent, or the tyranny isn't quite the word, but the tyranny of what I'm thinking of next, whatever it is, it's just occurring to me in a moment. So what helps us strategize? Okay, to be strategic. I'm going to give you a really nice example that is an expression of the developmental moment in my business. This is not an example for a beginner business, okay? But it's useful in terms of thinking strategically. I do an annual revenue model. How am I hoping and planning to make my money in the coming year? So I look at all my services and how many people I think is going to sign up for them at what cost, yeah? And how many of them I'm going to do, and do I reach my goals? And with Heart of Business, I learned to have kind of a scrape by goal, and then a comfortable goal, and then kind of a horizon or dream goal. And then I can sort of go, it's going to be pretty easy to get my scrape by, no big deal, because I know how to, given what I do and the experience I've had, comfortable is going to be a little more challenging. Dream is out of the question this year. And I thought, what I need to do is something that I wasn't planning on doing, which is a summer teleseries. Started brainstorming about different teleseries topics. And then I got on the phone with my coach, Mark. And I said, these are my different topics. What do you think? And he can be really straight with me now. He doesn't have to pull his punches, which is kind of nice. And he's like, I don't know, Leslie. I don't want you doing this if it's just for the money. Because you don't have to now. But what actually strategically supports and builds your business? And there was one idea I had, which is the idea I'm actually following through on. The landing page is now up if you want to see it. Which is a 4-week, it's basically a 4-week teleseries doing the information of this course. Just the reframing of business stuff. Which will be really great for people. It's a smaller thing, it's not a lot of money, it's available now, and when I'm done, I'll have the audience. So that when people want to work with me one-on-one, I've been struggling with working with people one-on-one, because I don't know how to get the information to them that you guys get by being in a group and having lectures, right? And he says, bingo, that's the one you probably ought to do. So that's thinking strategically. Now, if my issue was, how am I going to pay the rent this year? Then by all means, do the things that are going to bring in the cash, right? That would make sense. If you're really kind of struggling and you're not making much money. But because of the place of the business I'm in, is there something I can do that, yes, will bring in a bit more cash, that would be really nice, and build the business a little bit, that would be really nice, that actually serves the business in some larger way? This is the space that we need to go to once in a while. You can't be there all the time. Sometimes you just gotta sit down and you gotta pound through your emails and your to-do list and whatever it is you gotta do. But every once in a while, and they're different, there's the annual review I do, which actually I was revisiting at the 6-month mark. How am I doing meeting my goals? That's what was going on. And then there's more frequent lower level stuff. Right? So I just wanted to talk about that with you a little bit. This overlaps a little bit with a connected topic, but I'm not going to really go into too much today, which is planning. Just generally planning. And just kind of examples of that, I've done lots of different kinds of events, but the ones that I plan, I make a marketing plan for, and the ones I don't, it's very obvious in the outcome. And I say, these are the 3 months, and these are the things I'm going to do before the event that I'm going to, do in order to get to the goals I have for whatever the program is. Those tend to work better than kind of not just throwing things out and not planning very much, right? Because I don't like marketing. And if I don't like give myself an outline and a structure when I have to put out stuff, I'll kind of go, I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, this is kind of the thing. So this is strategizing is a way to rise above the day-to-day details and feelings. I'm going to say, really underline this. It's not only the details of your life, but the specific, I don't want to market today. Or whatever, whatever feelings you've got. Yeah, but I have this plan. That doesn't mean I have to stick with the plan. You can, the great thing about plans is that they don't have to be stuck to at all. They're more learning documents. They're guides. So why do any of this? And this is to say, in order for your business to have the future you'd like it to have. Now, I do understand, with Julie, she doesn't have a specific picture. But she does have some general understandings about this thing she'd like to create. She'd like to transition more or less out of what she's doing now into something that's more working with people, that's utilizing more of her coaching skills and so on. That's part of the future she'd like to have. And supports her well. Diane's a little bit different. She has a desire, because I really asked you about this early on, in your perfect world, is it one or the other, or is it both? And you're really clear, both. That's what feels good to you. So, the future you'd like to have. However, it has other benefits. It gives energy. Some kind of vision, some kind of structure gives us some energy. It also clarifies things.
This is all still under just strategy.
Strategy, planning, generally.
Okay, I thought you were distinguishing between the two.
They're mushy spaced together a little bit.
All right.
Planning helps us strategize, if I were to be more clear about it.
Okay.
Sitting down and thinking through, okay, I've got goal X. I want to meet my income needs for 2015.
Right.
Strategizing specifically is about how to get there, right? but it clarifies things. So I sat down and, I remember this was really, really useful. So the first time I did what Heart of Business calls revenue model, I had like 1 million events in order to meet my income goals. Mark said to me, this is lunatic. You're gonna have to be marketing constantly to make this happen. You can't do this. So well, it's what I need to do to meet my income goals. And he said, no. We have to change the beliefs you have about how much you can charge and how many people are gonna show up. That's what we need to change here. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's actually not gonna be more work, it's gonna be less work, that's gonna solve the problem.
But I don't know if they're gonna come for more money. I'm gonna do that, but they're not. Okay. It helps us get a sense of the wheat versus the chaff.
Mhm.
And again, the nice thing was that when I looked at that plan, I actually kind of knew it was not workable. I got tired even looking at it, but I felt like I had to. I didn't quite have the skills yet to sit with that and realize that there was something really out of order about the plan. But that's what it began to reveal to me, right? And it's based in your DS's, desired states, for those of you who have forgotten that. It's not based in shoulds. It's in what you'd really like to have. What would you like? What would you like? What would you like? It takes us, it's one of the elements of taking us from that regressed, oh, I want to have a business that supports me, and waiting around for it to show up, to kind of the adult, weighty, taking a role in the building of it. So all of this kind of serves being in our weight, being in some kind of dignity, and supporting our business, instead of just crossing our fingers and hoping that something happens. It's a way to participate in some way. Now, my philosophy of life, I'm a middle adopter. Okay? Generally, when it comes to, you've heard in technology, early adopters, they've already got the watch, the Apple Watch, and they've already got a virtual, they're already got all that stuff. And late adopters don't get to it at all, or very, very late if you get to it at all. I'm pretty middle, and the reason why I'm middle is because I wait until I feel that something's not working because I don't have it. Now, some will say you're not being proactive enough. You make yourself suffer. It's true. But it's just the motivational strategy for me, because I'm also equally motivated. I hate the idea of wasting my time, money, effort on things that I don't end up authentically needing, really.
Mhm.
That just drives me nuts, okay? Then it just becomes a management issue, right? So the way I'm kind of built is I allow pressure to increase. And then I start to do the thing or acquire the thing or learn how to do the thing that I need to have. I really believe, for me, this is how I do my planning. There's no point in doing more than you need to do. It is helpful not doing a great deal less than what would be serviceable. And not everything needs the same amount. So this is my outline for tonight. This is a plan, right? That's what that is. Most of you in this room who do presentations that you haven't done 100 times. Once you've done it a whole bunch of times, then you can kind of do it without a plan, but you have a plan, it's just internalized now, right? But generally speaking, you create a plan for how you're going to do an interaction with a group of people of some sort or another. I'm gonna drive from Des Moines to San Francisco. What's the plan? A little bit. Smaller things take less, bigger things take more. And here's the thing, please don't feel bad if you've done plans that have gone into the drawers and you've never seen again, right? That's okay. Obviously, if you're doing a lot of that, then it's probably some wasted effort and time going into that stuff. But there's a certain amount of planning that you do, and then circumstances change or your interests change, and you find going in a different direction than this elaborate plan you had, right? So whatever negative experiences you've had around plan strategizing, don't let about whether you do when it, as you grow in your business, what I find is that there are things that you do. It's the way you do it. When I see this coming up, over a sense of planning for that, because that's what I do. I know that that's really important. Some biannual planning and strategizing around income, really useful for me. So there's this sort of planning and strategizing that you just do because you've learned it's really good for you. And then there are other places where you bring it into play because stuff or something's not flowing. It's time to get the 10,000-foot view and think, what's up here? What's important here? What do I want to do here? What's missing here? I invite you to not tolerate status quos that are painful for too long. Maybe it's we could do this. Another thing to strategize to get what's going on. Constellation on the damn thing. Set out some cards. Did that for the office thing. I was uncertain whether to do this big new investment. And I was really uncertain about it, so I got in inquiry mode and I got a picture of what was going on and what was important and what was scaring me and what the opportunities were. And then I was able to do my due diligence around how much it cost and what money around here it would save and what I could legitimately charge someone else around renting it out and finding out from my renter, my landlord, whether I could do that. Curious, strategize, and maybe. So, a few things that I think help with being successful about this. Just a few key tips. One, I described to you my planning style, my strategizing style. I'm a middle adopter. I don't do anything about anything until I start to feel a little pressure around it. Work with your planning style. Having said that, don't let used to never do it. I was just doing it all the time. You're a wit, Mickey.
I got it. No, that's actually the absence of style.
What if you're so good at extemporaneousness that, you can just kind of self-organize on the fly?
Good luck having a business in this regard. Yeah. I mean, even things like setting up your quarterly payments to the IRS takes a modicum of planning. What I have to do is I set up a little savings account and I put money in there to make sure I have it when I hit June 15th. That's a little bit of a plan, right? Because it's a large check once every quarter. Yeah. I know it's a joke, and my guess is that people who experience themselves functioning that way have internalized it so deeply that it's gone unconscious. Right?
I always terms of like talk in my anyway. I can tell, but all this other stuff.
And even in then, probably you want to think about things like, do I want to address different learning styles? So A, do I want to do exercises as well as talk?
Mm-hmm.
Because generally speaking, people like different kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And do I want to do an offer? If so, what is it and when? And then, do I need breaks? Or am I going to drive them nuts that I just talked for 3 hours? Right? So there's, how do I want to arrange the room, given the numbers of people and the kind of space and the kind of interactions I want? There's just a little bit, usually, of some sort or another. And yes, you can say, I know how to talk on this topic for an hour. Right? So, because what it is it's outcome-based. What do I want to accomplish with this? And so when you're doing planning or strategizing, it's about outcomes you really care about. And the last thing I just want to include here that will help any planning, this goes to the topic of two classes ago, having some kind of guidance, prayer. I've become pretty good at noticing when I'm writing a plan that I'm total bullshitting on. Right? It's like, it's not connected to something. It's just a list of things, right? Rather than using some kind of sitting down, brainstorming, thinking something through, strategizing, getting clear about what's next from this place, right? And at Heart of Business, they actually call it heart-based planning. There is no like left brain, right brain thing here. It's all about the heart of your business. The other thing about this kind of stuff, again, is it's not set in stone. It's meant to be learning. So every year I do a revenue model. At the end of the year, have I done it that way? No. You know, there have been adjustments, there have been changes, there were challenges, there were things I ran into I didn't expect, there were things I preferred to do instead. They're learning documents, they're adjustable documents. And so one of the reasons why a lot of us are a little allergic to planning is we have the impression of now we've got a straitjacket or something. Yeah? And it's all yes or all no about the plan. But actually it's meant to be supportive, guiding kind of a document. Yeah? And again, sometimes it's just a little plan and annual plans. I don't have a 3-year plan. Probably could. In 3 years, I'll look at it and go, ha, that's so funny. I thought I was going to do that. But I find that when I bring some intentionality to these things, even when things turn out differently, they end up having more power and liveliness. And not just falling into my business, into the next thing, and next thing, and next thing. I'm actually a co-creator in some way. I'm an agent. That feels really good to me. Yeah?
Well, just image that came to mind is like kind of actually paddling rather than kind of sticking your oar in the river to just kind of turn based on what the river's doing.
Right. Yeah. Or not having an oar at all and just saying, wherever it takes me.
Yeah.
And again, you do it at the pace and the amount that you like. Now, this is something you've all seen before, but I'm handing it out again. It's something I sent out at the very beginning. But it's such, I just wanted to return to it at this point. Because theoretically, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be inviting you to fly. Fly, little birds.
Time to leave the nest.
Right?
It's the scene from, what is it? Gene Wilder? Fly, be free. It's Monty Python, I think. Anyway. The bird, the person in the cage who's been caged away forever, like,
Oh, right.
I think it's, anyway.
But it was like a
It's the
dead
father,
pigeon or
I think it's actually in, yeah, it's The Meaning of Life. in King Louis, Mel Brooks has the father of some damsel that he wants to get with.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
In
talking about the
prison.
history of the world, part
That's it.
one.
Native Black is Monty Python.
Yeah. Never mind,
Mel Brooks
sorry.
has never been
History
in
of
a
the World,
Monty
part one.
Python
Sorry.
movie, as far as I know.
Anyway,
No, that's awesome.
yeah. He starts to set free his birds because he's going to be released from prison, and they're all dead. He's like, fly, be free.
I see
Yeah.
you remember seeing
Yeah.
that scene. I don't mean it that way, I mean actually fly. Really fly. And at this point, I'll just slip in there the fact that I do have an advanced group. I think the next round is gonna start in September or so. Somewhere around in there, so I have the summer off, but for those of you who are feeling like you wanna keep on doing this work at a more advanced level, where we really get deeper and deeper into the change work and reflect on these reframings in business at a deeper level. The group I've got is just, they're just, it almost doesn't matter that we're talking about business, although business is the place we're doing the work. It's really kind of astonishing. So I invite you to consider that. But even in the context of you going off on your own, I wanted to return to these basics because they're useful for everybody in the room. And I'm gonna just look at yours for a second so you guys can look at each other. They're basically, again, 4 basics that at any given time, you want to kind of be attending to, right, in some sense. So the first one is whatever your products and services are. From free to inexpensive to mid-price to larger packages that can really help your income stabilize. Because when your session to session, it's really hard to make your income stabilize. The second one is something that a lot of you are still doing, sort of the niching, branding, figuring out what your work kind of is. And for those of you who do have a better sense of this already, it kind of never ends in a certain way, because it's always evolving. You're always discovering something new about your business, about what your work is. And there are times for really returning to this and times for letting it go for a while, right? I am really aware that I have some destiny around doing constellation facilitation training. I'm just not ready. I don't know why. It's not yet there. And I almost kind of can't envision how it could be. But I know there's going to be a point where I'm going to be called to wrestle with that more, right?
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
So how do you know the difference between that and a lack of planning or a desire to not plan, or, I mean, what lets you know the difference between that? What I hear in that is that you have an assumption that when the time is right, it will become clear for you.
Actually, no.
Or-
When the time is right, I'll start wrestling with it.
But there's some
Yeah.
point of action that
Sometime, yeah.
hasn't arisen yet for
Yeah.
you. So I'm just wondering, because I feel like that's kind of where I'm projecting. That's my space with it, and I'm wondering. And yet, in the interim, I'm torturing myself with like, well, no, you should try some planning. You should maybe,
Yeah, and I really do mean this planning stuff loosely. So I'm going to answer your question in a second, but if it's niching and branding, it could be in the space of just doing a lot of writing about it, right? Allowing ideas to arise, Like I said, doing a constellation on something could be a way to engage this. That's not exactly sitting down and writing a plan around something. But at any rate, it's a really good question. And this takes us back to this territory. And some kind of self-knowledge, some kind of sense of when one is running away from something and when it's not time. There are some externals. If we're not doing much of anything, right? There could be some possibility we're not doing much of anything, right? Now, There are people who spend years trying to build their businesses, and they're not making much income, and they don't have a job, and they're taking loans from their family members, and they're sleeping on couches, and I wanna say, for God's sakes, when you go to Starbucks and get a job,
Yeah.
just get some income coming in. There's no, "Oh, I'll kill myself." No, you won't. Just grow up and get some money coming in. Don't say that. They pay me not to talk that way to them.
I know exactly.
But, if we're not doing anything, so I'm gonna use this as a very simple, because I remember it so strongly. For 2 or 3 years, I really felt drawn to doing video stuff. And I could see how useful it was. And I just kept on feeling this, like, I can't deal with that yet. I just can't deal with it yet. And I could feel there was some ecology there. But I was also doing 10 other things for marketing, right? I have a blog, I have a website, I have a newsletter, I have funnel events, right?
Mhm.
So I wasn't really freaked out about the fact that I wasn't doing the video stuff. And then I almost just kind of found myself doing it, right? It doesn't always happen that way. There are times when you kind of like say, damn it, Leslie, you got to sit down and do this blah, blah, blah thing. So that's one external to check. If we're not kind of doing anything, then we need to do something to feed. You know, okay, if video marketing isn't the way to go, then what other, if we're in the context of talking about marketing, or if we're in the context of talking about niching and branding, you are doing things. You might be able to do a little bit more to put some more juice into the process for you to have more self-discovery. But it's not an issue of like you're just sitting around and waiting for the universe to bonk you on the head with inspiration. Right? You've got the blog, you're thinking about niching projects, you've engaged with this group in its process. Yeah. And other than that, it's kind of some kind of honesty with ourselves about whether we're avoiding something or whether we genuinely need to wait. And it's, you know, as there's so many things in the spiritual life, we always know the correct answer in hindsight. Oh, I was really just avoiding in 2013. That's all I was doing. Or, you know, I mean, like, you kind of know what the last week meant more in hindsight
Oh, yeah. I
than
had no
in
idea.
it all.
Yeah, you can't sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't have all the pieces yet.
It's a bummer about that. I often refer to it, there's a story in the Gospels, Jesus says, I'm gonna be dying soon, and the disciples are going, no, Master, don't die. And he says, after me, false prophets are going to follow me. And the disciples go, Master, tell us how to tell the true prophets from the false ones. And he says, basically, sorry, you can't.
You're on your own.
You will know them by their fruits, aka after they've done what they've done. Because the false and the true ones, they look pretty much the same in the moment. So we're all in this discernment business together and trying to be increasingly honest with ourselves in our own process, even if we're being super gentle with ourselves about the ways we may be avoiding or whatever it is that we might be doing. Is that even remotely an answer?
Well, I don't think there's really an answer to the question. And it's a question I've struggled with for both myself and coaching clients. And specifically for me, there's an area of my business that I've thought that I should do for a long time, that I felt resistance around, that I thought was a developmental thing. But I've really come to the realization that I actually don't want to do that. It's something that I think that I should, I'm qualified for, my business moves in that direction, it's natural, it's something I thought that I wanted to do.
Right.
And, you know, here like 6 years later, I'm like, you know what, I actually don't want to do that. which it feels like a tremendous relief, but there was lots of anxiety in the interim with feeling like I should do this, I should do this, I should do this, I should do this. If I do it 10 times, then I'll eventually feel okay about doing it. And so I just, it's that interim space that is difficult to discern. Do I just need, somebody to hold a gun to my head?
Or that's the answer, it's probably not what you need.
That's an exaggeration, but my point
Yeah, no,
being,
no, I get
am I
it.
just
Yeah,
being, am I just avoiding because it's uncomfortable, it's outside my comfort zone,
Right.
all those kinds of things.
Yeah. So, we return to the NLP question. What?
Jesus, too.
What would Carl do?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, even that's a discernment process. I think I knew this guy who was trying to build a business for 3 years. He was at NLP Marin, and every time he sat down for an outcome with someone else, what would you like? He says, I want my coaching practice. And they would work on the imprints and all this stuff. And then he got his friggin' dream job. And I imagine if he sat down with all of us, he would notice there was something important about that 2 or 3 years of thinking that he was supposed to have a coaching practice.
Oh, so his dream job was not in coaching?
No,
Okay, something
it had elements of it, but he was employed as opposed to having his own business. So we're all on the learning incarnational thing, which does make it a developmental thing.
Mhm.
It's just a different developmental thing than
Right,
you thought at the time.
right, the assumption that I've had is that,
Yeah.
when I'm done with the developmental, then I'll be doing it, as opposed to when
Yeah.
I'm done with the developmental part, I'll realize that there's something else.
Yeah. If there's any way in which I could help everyone in the room to remove the, if I arrive at X, I'll be okay pattern,
Mhm.
but it's so ingrained in humans. It's all we can do is have a gentler relationship with it and a little bit more wisdom and understanding about it. But we're all, if I was only 30 pounds less, if only I, whatever it
It's like
was.
wherever the promised land is.
Yeah, holy cow. It's never, yeah. So the other thing I would just say that if I could install in all of you, not my workaholism, but something I've kind of had all along that's been very useful for me is once I get to that place of something bugging me enough, I do sit down and do it. I just I had looking at my revenue model probably on my to-do list for 5 months. It was there bugging me. And then one day I found the time and I did it. And oh my God, it was so useful. I seem to have in me, it's like, it's time. My business needs this. My business, you can feel the heart of your business and it needs it. You can feel like you wouldn't not feed your dog if your dog was hungry. Business needs this. And you need to create some space and help make this happen. Or one of the things, Vicki and I had a really nice conversation the other day when she talked about some infrastructure things she needs, and then I said, I think you could hire someone to do that for you for not much money. And she was like, really? That feels good.
It's not a hidden thing about me, I could just do it.
Yeah. Okay, third thing, marketing. And if everyone remember, this is something worth taking the learning and just internalizing it, the marketing funnel. Because this is something you're going to pay attention to for the rest of your business, which is the ways people can get to know you. That's flyers on the wall, it's the good SEO on your website, it's the free events, it's, handouts at Ridgemont Deer, it's a good referral network, it's your LinkedIn profile, it's all these things. And then there are the free or inexpensive things, they can get on your newsletter and get articles. There's if you have a free gift. Has anyone, you are already on my list. I'd love to get some feedback on my free gift, which is a I have a video taking people through the heart of business meditation now, along with a PDF to troubleshoot it if they have any problems. It's a new thing on my website. I'm very proud of it. It's about 14 minutes long. It's very nice.
Cool.
And then, you know, your sort of regular services, whatever they are, and then your, the sort of packages and programs, which tend to be what actually stabilizes, or trainings, courses, stuff like that. The other stuff that can be in here, it doesn't tend to be hugely attractive to people like us. I may eventually go there, but passive income, having stuff like ebooks or things like that, meditation tapes, blah, blah, blah. But that would go in there in a proper place as well. And it's a nice thing to do if you're really, the reason why I've never produced it is because I think 90% of that stuff out there is crapola. It's just very consumer oriented. People buy CDs and stuff and they never look at them and they just sort of buy. And I don't want to feel like I'm part of that. So if I produce a passive income piece, I want to really be proud of the product and really, really be able to stand by it. And I haven't felt inspired to create that, right? A really juicy, wonderful, rich product. So I feel something out in the future. So this is something that you actually really want to be thinking about as you go along in your business, and you kind of deepen the funnel over time. So in the beginning, you keep your services pretty simple. You know, Guy has got someone coming for 4 or 5 sessions. It's, you know, but as he goes along, as he has, you know, more and more of these, at some point you're going to create a program or something, right? Because you'll notice that doing this, there's no way he can reach his income goals. And doing something like this accomplishes something that individual sessions can't do. And it's a different learning kind of a process. Okay, so your marketing. And then the last one is just your infrastructure, which I talked about a bit. Your spreadsheets, your Constant Contact or MailChimp, your online schedulers, your, all that stuff, PayPal account, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So if you have this, you know, Julie isn't going to be worrying about 1, 2, 3, and 4 at this point. She's mostly focused on number 2. But as part of that, she's doing some niching. She's thinking about some niching projects. So in that context, there'd be a service in there, whether it's a workshop, an event, something, as well as how are people going to find out about it, right? She's not so worried about infrastructure, although I hope even as you're doing your niching project, you're capturing emails in some kind of a system. The earlier you have a way to capture emails, that's a good thing. That makes life easier later on. So even then, there's a little bit of infrastructure, but it's a way to kind of break things down a little bit and simplify. Now, for someone like Diane or Anya or Vicki, they're thinking at different levels about these things, right? You know, part of our conversation was about Vicki has a whole lot of handwritten course materials that she desperately wants to get digitized, right? Yeah. So that's a different infrastructure piece. Which I said, Fiverr or Elance, set it all up. Simple, type it all up and format it for you, and you're golden.
Just a TaskRabbit.
What?
For $50 an hour or something. I mean, you know.
That's the kind of
you know, there are people, they're fast typists, they'll burn right through it. So it's a different issue for her. She's got an interesting sort of content management and delivery question there. Which also will end up being part of her product. So what I want to do at this point,
You know, part of this niching branding thing, I keep thinking is, just to say it out loud, one of the ways that seems to come through, as I'm noticing, that's strong for me, is people's comments. People's comments when they come back, you're so X, Y, Z, here's what I get out of you, you know, and it's like, oh, and I start to see myself. Oh, that's what it was for you, you know. So it's like what you're really good at.
Yeah.
And you hear that enough, I start going, huh. You know, I didn't quite put it in those words.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we can't see ourselves all the time out there.
Yeah.
So that's just been really helpful to listen to that now. in a different way.
Cool, excellent. Well, it's also being honest with yourself about trying something and it not going well and saying, you know, I don't think I'm called to do this. Good idea.
Yeah, that's good feedback too. That sucked, but you know, try that again.
Remember, I participated in a really interesting workshop with a constellation guy named Gary Stewart, and he does reincarnation constellations. So past life, you know. And it was very cool, it was very fun, it was really great. And so I did a workshop on it, and I'm like, this is crazy land, I'm never doing this again.
You
I
mean
couldn't
you
manage.
took one or you?
I had a workshop in which we did, and I facilitated past life constellations. Couldn't feel the boundaries in the way that I could for family constellations. And I just like, no, I'm not, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
Can you tell me how it's done? I want to do that.
You go to Gary Stewart's workshop down at the conference
Okay.
in November. You gotta feel the boundaries of it, and people got into the whole of the past life and I couldn't.
Got them they got into a hole.
Yeah, they're so over-identified, whatever that suffering was, whether we mean that literally or metaphorically, and they went in and they wouldn't come out. And I'm like, this doesn't seem helpful. Generally
Roach
speaking.
Motel.
Okay, so in a moment, I'm gonna invite you to, spend a few minutes, coming up with some for now priorities. For now priorities. Now, before you do that, I want you to check in. Don't do it yet. How does it make you feel? Notice what happens when I ask you to do that. In service to your business, that's hungry for something, like a dog who wants its meal.
Do you want feedback or you just?
Yeah, please share as you're noticing.
Yeah, so I actually got excitement and confusion. Both.
And the confusion, say a
First was the
couple more
excitement,
words.
then was the confusion.
And say a few words about confusion.
All of a sudden it was like, oh, that sounds like fun or something, and then I went, I don't know where to start.
Breaking it down a little bit, okay? But yes, so planning from a space of just generally planning is really confusing. So it has to be around an outcome or a goal or a need. Yeah? So anyone else have feelings or reactions?
I liked the shorter view. I was like, oh, just for now?
Just
Yeah,
for now.
great.
Yeah. Just for now.
Not
Yeah.
like for eternity.
Well, it's interesting, well, I'll get to that in a second. I'll make a distinction in a second. Other reactions?
Yeah, I was kind of similar to Julia. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, sure, yeah. You know,
I felt a little bit like, oh, we're doing this now. And then, and then I was like, but wait, we talked about this with Leslie just 2 days ago. So I was like, oh, right, I already know what my to-do now things are.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, good.
I've already done it, I'm ahead.
I'll just copy what I wrote in my
Well,
notes.
I'm gonna give you some prompts that you may get something new.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay.
So I'm not just gonna send you into it, I'm gonna give you some prompts. Anything you wanna share about what came up for you?
Well, I was making a little list while we were talking.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it said, we're gonna make a little list, I was like, oh, you want to see it?
No, no one's got to say
But
anything.
I was very happy with my little list too.
It's the wrong list. Okay, no. Okay, so first thing before you go into this, I've just stumbled on this, but I think this is a useful metaphor. Please notice, just take a second, and you don't need, if something specific comes up, awesome. But if it's just a feeling or an image or a metaphor, that's fine. What's your business hungry for right now? Given the funnel, these areas, what do you feel your business hungry for, or wobbly around, or unsupported? I mean, there's different metaphors for it, right? Just feel what your business, or notice. You can use your left brain too, it's fine. It can be really obvious. You know, you're having clients who are behind on their payments because we don't have an invoicing system. You know, it could be as clunky and specific as that, and it's driving you a little nuts. And then, as you identify that, and the for now still stands, but I'm going to redefine it I'm going to reframe it for some of you. It can only be for now because we're in now. None of us can transport ourselves to so for now, what do you notice about a need for fall? Again, our planning is always just for now.
For now, with regard to a middle range, oh, in the fall.
Thing that needs to be done that you imagine you might do in the fall. Maybe.
Hmm.
And then one, long range. That might be spring next year. Here. Now, you can ignore me on this. If what you want to do is something different, and you're feeling moved to something different. But for now, it's always just for now. But it might be nice to imagine, you know, in terms of your business's goals. If you don't want to do the middle or long range, that's fine. Let's just do what serves you. And Diana, if you have a longer list of short range, that's fine too. I just wanted to make this easy. Okay. I did it as well. So, group of two and a group of three. And if anyone does want to share, that's fine. You don't want anyone to see your list. But just maybe you two together and you three together, just to make it easy. And just share your lists. What you're noticing or what's coming up or anything. Just a little bit.
I can go first.
You want to go? All right.
So this is something that I've
Okay,
actually been
so
meaning to do
what's my
already,
business before?
and I talked about it more with Leslie in our coaching session, but
Here for clown.
I really need to
Um,
organize my client
Next, I
list
think
to like
is kind of hungry
inventory
for
who are the clients
maybe
that are gonna
some-
keep coming every month once I do my move. You know, like who are the people that I'm gonna be
little
relying
cards to
on
hand out at Burning Man
for my
at my open relationship talk.
and really get a sense of like
That's not
who are the
just
people that
regular
have been
business
super
cards.
consistent over the last like 2
Most of
years.
it's just Burning
And then who are the ones that I need to like
Man.
sort of
And
shift
then I have a
out.
third one.
And you know,
finish
do I
my
need to bring a few
alternate
more
niche
in? Like
website.
it'll give me a sense of like how much I'm actually gonna make in that 1 week that I can.
Then
Down
middle
here?
term, fall.
Up here. Not
I'd
sure
love
yet.
to clarify,
Yeah, it
land
hasn't
on
been
it.
decided.
What she said,
But
And then sort of go public.
was that? She said down.
That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, I said it really quickly.
And then long term, next year, I'd like to have, you know,
So then another
2K
thing
a
we
month
need to do
in
is create an opt-in link and
Rabbit.
send out a request to my clients who plan to stay on with me, and that'll be like
So
a monthly
what's
newsletter
something you
where I
might
update
do?
people
So this is
about what's
about
happening, and then like
about goals.
you know, what to expect to be in town.
So something you might
also,
do
like,
or enact.
start incorporating, how to do like a.
Well,
If that's not coming
like
up,
a
that's fine.
focus, like, every
Got it.
month,
Well,
like,
all of the
focus on
the short and
something
middle term were actually
or
actions. The
little
long
shift
term was a
people
goal.
can make
Yep.
to make
Okay,
themselves
so
happier.
long term.
You know, like maybe incorporate lavender
Create
into their evening rituals.
Packages and start to market.
You know, just
and
like
then-
super simple things. And then in the fall, I don't know where this came from. It's like, but I want to create a teleseries on how to lower
Little
daily
bit of question
stress
mark
for the
there.
health of your relationship. So
Just say this is
yeah,
goal,
that's what I got.
and this is strategy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I rediscovered that I
Short
have a
range
conference
is to continue to
Like, might as well use it, right?
allow this building towards a book, so it's fleshing that out via blog. And I put down video, but I'm not really sure. Middle range fall is a one-day workshop, long range spring is an ongoing group. But those could actually, that could also be, I'm not sure which precedes which, but
So what was the middle range one?
a one-day workshop.
Oh, okay. And just so I'm clear, a one-day workshop, or if you, or, I mean, if you want to tell me. You don't have to. Just curious.
It's still percolating. I mean, I have my general topic, but I'm working on the language around it. So I think I'm reluctant to say it specifically because I feel like I don't have it. I know what it is, but I'm a little bit stuck on how that comes across.
Okay.
Realistically.
Well, cool.
So
All right.
Because I also need to move some.
I think I'm anticipating as I continue to write on the topic that greater clarity behavior will continue to evolve into that language for it. And it's still an exploration. So I'm not committed to it as my work. So However, I do have another greater clarity on what I do now, the work that I want to do, which is really consulting to consultants, which is some of the work that I do, but I don't have it called out specifically. So I like to write based on also what Vicki was saying about what my current clients say they get from working with me, which is a huge differentiator for me in my field. And I want to write more specifically about that and generate content about that. And there's some juice for me there, which is nice because I tended to think that my current work is I've not been able to discern the wheat from chaff, and this is one way to do it for me. So that's
Let
kind
the
of
people do the threshing.
right. Because I have a title of which many other people have that title, but more just in interest for me is what I'm hearing from some of the clients that I enjoy working with. So how can I get more clarity, be specific about that, and write about it and market myself that way specifically, which is very different than sort of, I'm not an attorney, but being an attorney versus being so that hasn't been the focus of my work in this group, but it's what keeps coming to mind also as I think about this.
And so you guys are moving to break now, once you're done. And take a break, and at some point, Vicki and Guy will do our business constellation together.
Okay.
And perhaps some partnering. Can we get that done? And Keen?
Partnering for, I mean, we'll do the constellation, but
You're doing the constellation, but using this list to calendar some calls.
right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, what is that? The wheels are moving. Have great visibility, more certainty, and those are more conceptual stuff.
So Guy, this is in the beginning of the meaning of life.
Yes.
Is there in a restaurant, and there's a fish tank. And one fish comes in, and another one comes in.
Consider it.
Morning. And one of them turns and faces towards the restaurant. And see the restaurant, everybody's sitting down. And goes, oh my God, there's George. Somebody just ordered a fish. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's all. Makes you think, what's it make you think? You know, makes you think. Makes you wonder about what's it all about? What's the meaning of life? And then that goes into that whole I thought animation at the beginning, the credits of the film. It's pretty sweet.
This
Oh my God, it's George.
this triggers a very odd vortex esoteric moment that's on topic on this, which I'll just, but it's interesting, and it's kind of amusing. So one of the things in a particular class, you start to work with a particular aspect of one of the energies that brings in the quality of truth. So you can like intend to channel it into an issue or something, and it will kind of bridge you
I just
into
wanted
what
to
is
point out
truth.
that I didn't
So we
even
use this to say, okay, to find out, do some inquiry around past life, whatever. So it's, well, so now
because you
channel
guys both
this
talked about string, and I was
to
like, oh,
sort of
like a stretch thing.
connect you
And then you
to
both, and then when you
your
talked about like,
last
oh, that was part of
life
your assignment.
as a
I
fish.
didn't even hear that. So it was like,
And so,
wow.
you just kind of like,
Yeah,
well, okay,
that's
fine,
really funny.
so I did it.
Yeah.
And what was wild was
I don't know where I'll be.
I had this experience of like all of a sudden
Until I know.
of like being in the water and going like this, going
Well, no, we're gonna like.
back and forth through the water.
Oh, you're going
but I had the experience
Where
of
we're
like, oh,
There's a going.
this isn't,
It's
I'm just not, I'm
not
not just
sure
moving
where.
this way
Yeah.
because this
Where
is
there's
the only way that I
going.
move.
Like,
I'm actually moving like this because
You
my
get clear
eyes are
about
on the
the
side of my
direction.
head and I can't actually see in front of me. So I have to turn, see that way, and then turn, and then I can see that way.
I
And
think
then
it's gonna be
turn.
fine. It's gonna
And
be
it,
fine.
well, it was like, I would never have had any concept of that at all. Except for having kind of had bridged that, and I was like, oh my God.
It's an opportunity to have a blank slate. Recreate.
Wonder what kind of fish you were. You weren't a flounder, clearly.
Clearly, I said-
In your last fishy life.
I think I did, with the Carol, the woman that
You guys go.
a bunch of people went
You
to
guys
the
both
past
eating
life
pine
regression,
bars?
the 3-hour lie on your back thing. The Carl was super into.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah. So I did one
forgot
session,
about
like,
eating.
I have another one. Would you like it?
Really?
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Pat,
Yeah, it's funny because ooh.
you know,
All right, I'll
but,
pitch it back.
you know, in terms of its relevance to what I want to do this for. But it was very interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because I got together with a friend
Came
around
to
3 and she
report
just
back
wanted
to
a
a
sweet
past life
treat,
where
so we went and like
Just walking around like a
a
city or
dessert
town,
crepe.
and then looked down and I had bird feet.
I'm leaving tomorrow morning and I had to get
And it was just
food
kind of like,
That'd be nice.
it was
for
like.
lunch throughout the weekend.
So you guys
I
want to
jetted to Trader
partner
Joe's before I
or
came here.
whatever,
I don't have time for any
do some
food.
calendaring? Again, it's Anya, Guy, and Vicky, Diane, and Julie.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So,
My best days are Monday and Tuesday.
how about Sunday? No? Nothing on Sunday?
That's tough because these are my days with Andrew, but
Okay.
we tend to, I don't know, might have, I just don't feel it would be good.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
then I would be like,
Then let me get back to you. You said Monday or Tuesday?
yeah.
Then
And I can probably do other evenings too.
Okay, cool. Just let me get here. I'll shoot you a text.
I'm sure it's not.
It's ancient.
It's not the one I use, so
Okay.
it's not the best way to go for me.
I mean, this is like from God knows how I had this years ago.
That's fine. Okay, will you text me so I have your number?
Mhm.
Please?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me check on something and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Or you can do it.
And if you guys want to do like looky-loos into your part of business,
Yeah.
but it's gonna have to be like a minute or two each at the most.
Okay.
Okay, we've lost our time.
Check in with each other. And I just want to make sure we have
We
plenty of
can't really-
time for the final constellations.
She's gonna be doing that.
Okay.
If we could figure it out through email or something.
Right.
Sorry, I've given people things to do at the
What
same time.
kind of
I'll be-
just like an evening or kind of like 10:45 or free form?
Yeah.
Daytimes are generally better. Mornings, afternoons.
I feel good. I feel kind of very present. And
Tuesday or Wednesday. Wednesday or Thursdays, but
alert in the sense of kind of like having.
Next week, I'm in a workshop from Wednesday to Sunday, so I'd probably only be available in the evenings. I'm
what
guessing.
about
But like
Tuesday?
very solid presence.
I'm gonna be flying on that day. I would be available in the evening or later afternoon, like 2 o'clock or
I could do
later, probably.
Tuesday
Okay, what time?
after 7.
7, or do you wanna say later than 7?
7 on.
Let's put 7 and then see
And
if
then I
that
can
works.
wrangle her in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this.
It's like a so sincere, just a sincere wanting.
July 23rd.
And
I mean, I'll fudge a little bit, but the problem is that I found is I'm really nice to people. And then I found myself like doing this course like a month or two after it's over.
I don't feel like it's been my last.
Yeah.
Literally like since, because I was just.
You were in. I'm surprised to hear that it's been that few.
I mean, I can double check, but.
And I'll double check as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a spreadsheet here, although it could easily not be up to date, but
I have like 4, so Monday would be the 5th one,
working out a name stack.
and then July 6th will be the 6th one. So
well, that's, no, you had said something different. Yeah. I was like, really? It's only the 4th one? Wait, right.
Yes, exactly. Monday, the 22nd, the little July 6th, might be the 6th, so then I could get one more for the 23rd.
Not quite knowing, you know.
Nervous six.
Actually, I have, so I'll have to double check.
Sweet.
So these are the dates I have for you. 4/14, 4/24, 5/19, 5/8, 6/11,
And
6/11 was canceled.
Okay,
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the one I was like, I can't find the link, can you cancel it for me?
okay.
Because that was just this last.
And of course, there's some reason.
Okay.
It's just,
So that
what
would
it's
never happen.
looking for now is a little more relaxation. and wanting to be given and expression. This is, it's, see, I'm going forward. And that's how it looks like it's solidified.
Yeah, so that,
I
that's.
don't know too much, and also take this and then.
Yeah, that's not a problem. That doesn't, I mean, that gives you a whole month to do 2 more sessions.
It's just that I'm gone from July.
And I'm gone the first week of July, I mean, the last, that last week, I mean, between, well, I'm, because my sister's in town. Basically from, so sort of this week.
Yeah, I'm going.
Right, it's like to stay there.
Oh, no.
That's the one I told you.
Yeah,
I mean, I actually might be able to do it virtually.
okay.
It depends on. Maybe I can
See it actually just.
Okay.
And
So,
hopefully.
can you check in with me in plenty of time? I have a list of directions I would really like to send to you now. You actually really do have to read them ahead of time and plan ahead of time to do the Google. Right, because what people do is they sort of glance at it, they go, oh, that's really straightforward, that's really easy. And then they go to some Google page, but it's not the right Google page, which has to be your Google Plus page. And you have to do exactly the way it is in the instructions, because they didn't internalize it, they don't have it in front of them, they just do the intuitive thing. And the failing of Google Hangouts is that the intuitive thing is wrong. So you actually have to do it the way I say. So I just really encourage you to really read it and actually go to your Google Plus page and see the things I talk about. So that on the day of, and then please do, respond to my invitation by a quarter of, so we have time to troubleshoot.
I should know, but you're
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Okay.
Wow. Cool.
Right,
It's not working.
right, yeah, you can text you or something.
Yeah, there's no way I can
That's fine. Okay.
So our next and final meeting is Thursday, July 2nd.
Second of July. Is Julie the only person who can't make July 2nd?
I will be gone. I'll be in Florida visiting my mom
What are we talking
on the East
July
Coast.
2nd is our last group.
I can do that.
But I can Skype in.
Oh, it's on the calendar.
Oh, it's in the calendar. It's the last group. But,
That's right on the holiday.
you know, when we get to the point of missing two people, I mean, if we have, and it's one thing when people like at the last minute say they can't come. That's what the last meeting was. But if we know ahead of time, I hate rescheduling, but I also hate missing two of you for the last meeting.
And
That's kind of bothersome.
there's a possibility that you say it's July 2nd, then it's a Thursday night. There, that same class that I always teach on Thursday night in LA is the second, unless she changes it, and she might. So I've got to check in with that. Then you'll be missing 3.
So I'm gonna make a note to myself to inquire with you all about another date. I'm gonna do that by email, I'm not gonna do that now.
But I can check, I'll know this weekend if that's.
Did you want to talk about making up the father constellation stuff?
Yes, I don't think we have time right in this moment, but before we leave tonight. And Vicky was also not there, is that right?
Yes.
I'm actually, I'm gone the weekend.
But yeah,
I'm
we'd love
too,
to, I
Boston.
actually haven't watched.
Gone for like 2 weeks.
I haven't either yet.
Okay. So if we get two people.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, let's get this back up. Okay, so here we're gonna go. We're doing constellations. Everybody gets 2 rounds. The first one's extremely brief. The second one is the one that's actually gonna do the healing work. The first one's just to take a look. This is where I need to ask for some group discipline. Because if you just sort of play in this one for a long time, you're gonna run out of time. Okay, so you're gonna set up a group of 3, and 3 people. The person whose constellation is themselves, there's someone who's the business, and someone who's money. And we just want to see, does money run and hide? Does money want to kill the business? Does, what is it? Okay, just get a sense for it. Generally speaking, when I see these done, people go, yeah, intuitively, that makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me and money in my business. And then step out of the roles. The real constellation is me, and then only 2 roles to begin with. The ancestor we're entangled with that's creating this dilemma with money. Okay? Let that be just for a little bit. Just notice it, and then bring in the 3rd person who is the resource for that ancestor. And then allow that to unfold for a little bit. The threesomes are gonna have to be a little bit more disciplined on time. I will do my best to help you with that. Like 10, 12 minutes per on this, okay? I know we don't have 6 people. I mean, we do, but I'm not gonna participate. So we're gonna do as we have done, which is a group of 3, and then a group of 2 who uses cards, and I'm gonna come and pop in as often as I can. But I have to support both of the constellations a little bit. We've done that before, we seem to be getting pretty good at it. So I'm gonna let you self-organize. Group of 3, group of 2, and get started. Okay, there we go. For you guys just to.
That's so cool to experience that super decisive energy from Diane. It's like,
Okay,
you two now.
off with the.
So we do have the card, help me remember. What can we decide if card goes for one of the?
Probably 1 card will be money.
Well, the first one, I'll just start with you guys.
Okay.
So who's gonna have yours first? You can have the cards down.
Okay.
We're doing it for Julie?
Sure.
And which one do you want to be the business, which one do you want it to be the money?
You Do I say?
Yeah, go ahead and make it formal.
Money.
Money.
My business.
Okay.
Money likes you. But
Apparently I'm the problem. I can only really see money. And I don't like that money has more attention on you than on me. I'm getting cranky. I feel so jealous of you. I feel really jealous. Leslie doesn't do jealousy much, so this is a really interesting sensation.
yeah, that's not helpful.
Business is being a problem. So you guys have
So
a
that's, yeah,
yeah, that's the, yeah, okay.
Okay. Does that make any sense for you at all?
I don't know yet. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean,
I
it's,
got the money, this felt
Yeah.
right.
I'm totally jealousy when you're doing that. Oh my God. Fascinating feeling. Okay, so start out the first two, and I'll come help you with the third, or bring in a card or something, okay?
Okay, so we're starting B of hers. Of hers.
Okay,
For her.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I want to go.
So.
You stay,
I stay.
you.
She's like,
Yeah.
Usually entangled ancestor.
And in your role, you want to go over
I'm
there?
in my role.
Yeah, just go there, then allow to the MRI to. And how's that for you? Business?
First of all, I want to get down on the floor.
So you'll notice we keep doing her go-to move, which is caretaking. Isn't that cool?
I'm noticing.
That's the picture, that's not there. That's the picture.
I'll take care of it. I'm gonna feel better so she gets to you.
Like you're in the
That it's our invalid or something, or it's disabled. It's like, you know.
Or like-
Okay, so launch your knee.
Okay.
It's like, both it's damaged and my rudders only allows me to turn in one direction.
And how's that for you?
concern
And then-
Well, that sounds like an entanglement. It's kind of a definition thereof. Okay, so you wanna make me the resource?
It's you who left me.
It's like down, but it's left and right, it's just like. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And it was mostly about wanting this ancestor, who's apparently a little smaller than me, to see that this one is small. This one's small. Bigger. It's not so much about it, something you need to do. Or except to say that one's bigger than that. Yeah, that's a good first step.
Yeah, that would make sense to have her see it. She's small, then this one stopped looking to it to kind of help on to.
No.
I thought I was down here because I was dead, but I could get up with that.
That'd be awesome.
You're dead too. But
They're the dead and they're the really dead.
I was not peaceful dead.
Mhm.
No more peaceful.
Sorry I wasn't there for you, but I'm there now. I'm there for that one now. Okay. You feeling pretty good over there?
Yeah, I feel excited, energized. And supported.
Okay. So step out and do A again. And I'll be back in a second. Okay, so just check in and see how it is. You don't want to do the beginning too long.
Okay.
Just for a moment or two. No fixing, this is the fix. Yeah. And how would the resource?
For your business.
Not feel good with it, and one feels good enough. Just another minute or two. Go back to visual.
I kind of feel like I'm
Okay.
Like kind of with you.
Yes,
Kind of like,
that's exactly what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
like we're parents to this.
Right.
Do you want me to come in after as the business, or do you feel like you?
It's nice.
Do you want me to step into it just to check out that jealousy thing?
Yeah, sure.
You guys can't lift me like you did the paper. Oh, that is interesting. Go down and meet that. It's quite right. So this one feels really strong, like I can really lean against this one. I can now look, there's no jealousy, I can look at you. I'm still a little unsure. My God, I don't remember him. There's one that jealousy is still- I'm glad this one's here, this one feels very strong, very strong.
Is that a question?
Like what?
How could you do that? How can you do that?
Tiffany?
You sit down. That feels better. This one's standing. That feels better. This feels really workable. Like the fact that I don't know you really well isn't a problem. It's like two kids meeting on a playground, it's fine. And we got something looking over us that feels strong and making sure that we're gonna be okay.
With the money.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good for money, money is solid, strong here. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a
As,
Yeah, there's no supposed to, it's just discovery and adventure and it feels safe. Okay, okay.
Thank you.
right on.
I'll be right back to help you out with the next one.
Out of play. Work. The neutral zone. Okay.
What's your inclination in your role?
Alright. And I guess. For me. You will be my business. And this. Clean.
Like one certain
Yeah.
Is that something that you use for sure? Not like that, is it? Okay.
Right.
So you just, we let them find their way.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I like the fact that you're playful. And me, she's my business, that's money. Ah. Well, hard to register that with the card. So, I guess unless we draw the arrow. Yeah, I really don't know what to do. I'm just kind of like, oh,
Oh, don't do that. Oh my God, that was really irritating. Holy crap. Like irritating enough that I could like whack you. No more poking.
it just wants to have fun.
This one, like fun is not in its dictionary. It's just
Yeah,
not. This one is dealing with serious shit and it's not interested in either of you guys at all.
Well,
Okay?
that sounds very dysfunctional, yes. All kinds of dysfunction.
Cranky pants. Okay, get started on the next one.
Okay.
Once again, the twosome is way out ahead of the threesome.
All right, well, I'm still you. You are my ancestor entangled about this tree.
Are you money or business? Your business. What do you notice about these guys at all? Anything? Money?
Like a mile, it seems fine, it seems distant.
What's your experience in this too?
Feel kind of cranky.
Maybe we can call this one, you're on the line.
I feel close to.
I understand that my thing,
So you're,
you're in my lost cloud. But I'm more like weighted with.
and then you get on the second one, just have the first two for a minute or two, and then bring in the resource.
Very knowledgeable.
Where we feel a little cranky towards.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just cranky. I'm just a little irritated by that.
I feel like I've got like a car engine that needs a small check and it's producing a lot of noxious, whatever fumes, and I'm aware that it's impacting this week. But I'm really consumed with this burning.
Okay, so we need the resource to be a mechanic, an oil change, something?
Carburetor.
Chugging along on the old diesel fuel. The old economy.
Okay, so I'll come in as the resourceful one. Still doesn't help that one very much, but it does. I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it's like I need to.
Is that doing something useful for you?
I feel like I can just sort of work with my own situation. I don't have to worry about it.
It's just a little separating. I feel way more, I mean, I don't feel disconnected from this one. But I feel way more connected to, this is an unusual way for this constellation to be unfolding, because it's a resource theoretically for that ancestor. I don't feel very connected to that ancestor, but clearly I'm having a positive effect, letting them have rest.
What shifted for me is I feel like this is my thing. And I feel better because it's not like creating a mess for others. It's like I just have this.
So you can say in the space, this is my thing.
This is my thing.
Really contented
I feel a ton more than this, other than to sort of stay here,
Yeah,
very steady, very simple.
yeah, and I'm like, just kind of like recalibrating in light of like having some, that stuff cleared out, breathe.
Yeah. So I need to do a kind of a slow 360, just to see what's around you. Well, it might be nothing, feels good to me. There's a speaker over there, there's a plant over there, there's an interesting set of pictures over there.
getting smaller.
What?
The issue is getting smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little more, there's a little more spaciousness here.
And the part that now feels about this one is that I don't actually go with you. I stay here
Yeah.
to be, I'm attached a bit to this one, to, block isn't the right word, even though it is blocking, but it's like to give you something, like a stage has a back wall or something,
Hmm.
you know? And like the wall you can kind of move against a little bit.
Nice.
The other image that's coming to mind is not exactly right, but it's a block that a runner pushes up against to start their run. It gives them a push off instead of being in zero G and having no way to start a direction.
Yeah.
Just float.
Yeah, that lands.
I want to say just whichever thing you like, you can look at. One you like. It's a plant or a picture or the exit sign, you can just look at it. Choose. We'll stay here. Ooh, that's interesting. It came out that way. We'll stay here and be the thing you can push off of. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. That felt very nice.
I got it.
Yes. Now we do A again.
Oh, right, yes. Okay. I'm still.
And here we have.
Your business. I am, you are business.
So the ancestor,
Okay. Money.
those populous families, no application.
It's really good.
Yeah, I have, because a resource.
Wow. 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 You're real.
More like shoulder.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, you feel real.
You know your stuff. You can touch base.
You're
I
real.
don't have to ignore or forget about.
It's good to be seen by you in that way.
Yeah, it's right, I'm real. We could have suspenders, I think.
Wow.
I feel more mature. So just say that into the space, that plant, that plant is really simple.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close that room. Good job.
Oh.
Just to revisit, just a really quick revisit on the you, the business, and the money.
All right.
Is this,
That's money. This already feels a whole hell of a lot better. My business, this one is feeling very real. Just real. In a way that I'm not experiencing.
so you're far more, I don't want to turn away. You are far more real to me than this one is yet. I really see you. I really see you. You feel really solid to me, which I like because I don't feel as solid as you do. So I like feeling your solidity. I'm actually mostly interested in that one because you are. doubt you're interested in that one, I wouldn't have any attachment or much interest.
This is my friend. My bud.
It's funny, it's not that jealousy thing.
Dude, you're like my bestie, and I'm introducing you to my other bestie. And I'm like,
So actually, take a
All right,
second, be in the role and
Be in the
see
role,
how
be in
it
the role.
actually finds, because that's actually agitating this
Oh,
role
okay,
a little
okay,
bit,
okay.
because I'm not sure it's exactly, I think it's close, but that's not exactly what you're experiencing these two.
Like interest and curiosity and a possibility. Like there's something, like I feel like in a lot, like we're like on an adventure, and this is like, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting.
It's interesting, as you have attention on me, I like that.
I feel like that exploration and curiosity. It's good. Check this out.
Actually, you know, I'm having an interesting image, which is, just try it with me for a second. Actually, like, we're the new guys. Does that feel right?
It feels, I want this to know that there's this trust, like we'll always be.
Yeah,
It's always-
We're solid. We're solid.
And the jealousy thing comes up. I don't like that there's a stronger bond, because this feels newer and fresher and a little uncertain, and I don't trust it yet. It feels a little bit like an either or. This is why I like this. For you to have tension on both of us together.
Can I do this?
Yeah, you're smaller than this.
No, I don't know if it's small, if it feels like an intimacy that's maybe I'm not quite ready for.
There's like, I feel like I want to make you feel comfortable, but I want you to know that there's nothing between us.
A little bit, just a little bit. I just want your attention for a second. Forget about him for a second. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm better now. For some reason, I just needed that much attention. And I'm still kind of new and fresh and need reassurance. I'm still kind of needing some reassurance.
I kind of feel almost like I'm like a little bit of a middle person in that, like I get your, I want you to feel comfortable, and I want this one, I want you to feel safe and solid and like, we're just assured of this connection here.
Here's another thing that would probably work really well, is this.
Yeah, I kind of like that one, yeah, I'd love you to be over there alone while the two of us are over here.
I like this.
This does feel a little bit better to me. I mean, I think that needed to happen.
Yeah.
This sounds so stupid, it's actually an appraisal.
You're closer?
That one is.
Oh, right.
But there's something like I actually need to feel attached here, whereas your ability to move feels important.
Yeah. That feels good. That feels okay. It's just what it is.
Especially since you feel more secure and I feel a little less secure.
Yeah, so that's why it feels okay. It
Yeah,
feels right.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever the system needs.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, good.
Right on.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
can we wrap, is this the third one, or? So it's now yours.
That's the option.
So do we have a sense of Rotten? No, just in the system right now. People are. You have a sense of it? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, this is part B of the third one. Oh, I thought we were on part A. Never mind.
I'd actually like to find out more about your work. It occurred to me, actually, we never had a chance, we never did ever have our phone call. But it's been a question in the back of my mind, and I think that I'm interested in having a session. So, I mean, without knowing anything about it, but it is a thought that keeps occurring.
Okay.
I think it has for several months now, so.
Okay. All right.
I'm just, voicing it. So, I guess just like I'll reach out to you. I'm kind of not around in town for the next couple of weeks, but maybe towards the end of July if you're around. Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it like a 2 hour, 1 hour?
2 hour kind of thing. I generally do a 2 hour kind of thing.
And what do I need to know to start?
Well, it kind of depends on what you want to do. It can work on a number of things, both sort of physical issues as well as sort of emotional, karmic, spiritual issues. So in general, it's like, what's the thing you want to work on? There is sort of a baseline of like doing energetic tune-up and alignment on your whole energetic system that is like might take the better part of an hour, and then get some portion of work done on a specific issue, or just kind of have a full session. It's just kind of like just getting that foundational tune-up done, and then do a session. I mean, it depends on sort of like what the issue is and how extensively you work through it.
I don't know, it's really kind of an intuitive hit, but it's not like I have a.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you can come up with me.
Yeah.
But it's been some, so I will, do some
think about it.
more on what specifics, but even just doing kind of a general.
Tune-up kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it would definitely give you an experience of
Right,
it.
yeah, that would be good place to start. So cool. I have your contact info.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send you an email.
Good doke.
Write that down before I forget.
By the way, pretty much almost everything that I can do at a distance at this point. So with a couple of exceptions, one of which I could actually just handle real quickly in like 30 seconds or something. Would you mind if I just do a quick just touch you in the shoulders real quick?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Should I send it?
Yeah, you can just sit down.
Okay.
Just keep on. Just do a quick thing. One of the few things that we actually have to have physical contact with. So. school. Yeah, but pretty much most of us and stuff can do remotely, so we don't have to like fuss a whole lot about logistics or anything.
Is it like a phone thing or?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a phone thing, or it can be just like call, we chat, you tell me what you want to work on, or whether you want to do the tune-up or work on an issue, how extensively maybe you want to work on the issue that you're trying to determine. You know, whether we kind of go for, you know, as much impact as possible in a couple sessions versus kind of like taking it from the very top and just working it all the way through, you know, 4 or 5 sessions or something. Just depending on how deep you want to go.
Cool. Is this a modality that you have learned recently, or how did you?
I've been studying it for 8.5 years. Yeah, and quite intensively for the past 3.5. Like hardcore. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
He's gonna take us for a ride.
How's it going? They came back. Where does money go off and play when it plays in the night when you sleep? The energy I'm getting here is of a very enjoyable girlishness. It's distinctly female, but not very, it's girlish, it's playful. And this is, there's no perfect arrangement of any of these things, right? It's whatever's different now. And you actually feel like you're showing up as the grown-up for these two. Now, that wouldn't necessarily be the permanent, but for now it feels kind of, how does that feel too for me to say that?
That's what you feel like. So, what I should do.
Do what comes to the role. You can even try something and go, oh gosh, that didn't work. Yeah.
I feel a little bit informed. Okay.
It's totally magic to play here on this side.
Oh my God, I'm just losing it. Which one are you on? And then as a next movement, if, you know, we let this unfold for a few hours, what would end up happening? And stay there for a while. Stay in the giggly, playful thing for a while.
That's
That's what, so, I'm asking, that's a question. Yes.
Oh, but no, after a while, we stayed with this, I actually.
And then stay in that Gateway Place for a little while. And then what, yeah. Then what will happen after that?
Okay, let's get up now, let's do something. Basically, roll around on the floor. Okay, that was great.
So can you say something along the lines of, your game as long as it's fun?
Board game, as long as it's fun. Okay. All right.
And can you go on this way? Just put your hands on these. Because they just need a little grounding. From someone who's a little, it's not about not being fun, it's just about. I love your huskies. Okay, when that feels like enough, come on back.
Thank you.
Okay, so wrapping it up for today, we talked some about how to feel the hunger of our business and allow ourselves to have a few things that guide, instance our to-do list or what it is we do next. And how to keep it in a really heart-centered place so that we can have what we like, even if we don't know what we like. Because most of us don't know what we like. And then we did some ancestral constellations. So what's your take home? What are you most noticing today? What seems important to you? I'm thinking today.
Just, constellations rock.
And can you say specifically what rocked about your experience?
Well, I mean, I really appreciated the impact and the power of, both the constellations, it felt like. And for myself specifically, I just, the difference of how my business felt after adding in the resource and whatever movements that happened there was so distinct. It was so stark that it was like almost shocking. It was just like, whoa. And then I was really grateful for you coming over and kind of dropping in as the representative for money to kind of continue to kind of let other things, unfold and move so that this kind of could reach like maximum stabilization, as it were. So it just feels like, it feels good. It's like there's a solidity in the system in some way. It feels good. Yeah.
Somebody else take home. By the way, I'm just noticing there are 5 people in the room. I'm not thinking 6 of us, we're all here.
Yeah.
You what?
We're all here. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
noticing.
yeah.
That's really glad
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. It feels good when you're all here. It's got an energy.
Critical mass.
Yeah.
I want to say that it was so I don't know if refreshing is the right word, but it was kind of like, oh, so this energy that sometimes comes into my space that I'm like, wait, this isn't really how I want to be, or I don't know. It was just interesting to see that it was an entanglement.
Okay, so
And then
you
that
felt the
can-
K and you went, oh, I know that K.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, totally.
yeah.
Yeah, and then just
Now
to
I
see
feel
it,
Oh my
like,
God.
just to see it that it's coming more from outside of me than from my actual personal will and desire. It's like all this crazy making is like getting untangled for me because of that.
The nice
So-
reframe is every time, once we nail that K, if it comes up again, and it may not, but if it does, what the reframe is that it's a way to love somebody.
Mm,
That icky K,
mhm.
whatever that is, or that difficult K, or that jump, whatever. Or
Yeah.
whatever it was, it's like, that's the part that is our choice,
Mhm.
that is ours.
Mhm.
It's like it's a way to love them.
Right. So yeah. So, I feel like I'm freed up to run my own energy more fully.
Nice,
That's great.
cool.
Yeah.
I was fun to watch the, wanting to caretake money. And, but it wasn't really the natural thing I wanted to do. I was really more just curious. And it was like I felt compelled, you know, touched or something. But I didn't know what I was doing there, really, inside. So that was really cool. And then, I can't even remember what happened after that, to tell you the truth, but just, I guess. I actually don't even remember, because we did 2 others after that. Now I'm like, wait, what happened in mine? I don't remember, but it felt, but that's okay that I don't remember. It just feels, it just felt so much better at the end. And also what I'm left with is how simple it was. To not have to have a lot of lines or say much, just let it be there, bring the resource, watch, check. Like, wow. That is just so cool and so simple. We don't even have to know who the answers are. We don't have to go in our heads at all. I just really love the whole bypass. That was just really cool. It's beautiful. I don't remember how simple it can be.
You're inspiring me, that there's something I've sort of been doing a lot lately, more in my head than externally. I stumbled on this, I for quite a few years, I've had a waking up in the middle of the night anxiety thing. Not that uncommon a thing. Cortisol is often a little nutty for some people in the evening, when they wake up in the middle of the night or early in the morning when they wake up. So I've been lying in bed and just having that experience, like, what am I gonna do? How do I fix this? Right? And so what I imagine in my mind is me in a constellation facing a representative for the resource I need right now. That's it.
Rather than facing the anxiety.
In your own mind.
The resource. I'm doing, I'm actually imagining a space like this and 2 representatives, and I step into one and I step into the other. The resource I need. And this has been magical.
Just
And
for
it's
sleep?
different at different times. Like I remember one specifically. Immediately I felt relief, and it felt like this was like a sentinel, or or a guard dog behind my shoulder watching over me. Something relaxed and I was asleep in like 2 minutes.
Wow.
Other times in someone who mirrors me and sees me and reflects me. Sometimes if it's not enough, it gives me some relief, but not enough. What's the other resource I need? And I'll bring in another one. And I began to play with this in other things now. So I've had this funny food craving thing I haven't been able to beat. So I've just been doing little things with instead of like, what grandmother am I entangled with? Blah, blah, blah. It's just, what's the resource I need? What's the resource I need? And it doesn't end up getting a name. It may, I mean, the Sentinel, the guard dog, the brave German Shepherd. It's just the resource I need, and it gives me the experience.
Did you say that you?
It's not a full fix, because, I end up having anxiety enough in 7 days later, but it lets me go to sleep, which is very pleasing.
So you picture stepping into each of those?
Yeah, so I imagine literally, because I do so many constellations, I imagine a circle, 2 representatives, and I stepped into one. Often that's just enough, because I have the relief from facing whatever this is. But if it helps, I'll also just step into the other one as well, just to get more information about it a little bit. And yeah, it's just so simple. I could solve that anxiety, I could sign up with a facilitator and say, I want to do a constellation on this anxiety thing I do in the middle of the night. And you would bring in a grandfather and a great grandmother and a cousin who died in Auschwitz, all this stuff, right, an hour and a half later, which is great. I don't have anything against that. Sometimes it's really, really important. But these little movements can be really, really powerful. I've been playing with this a lot lately. As a mental exercise, especially for, when you're doing insomnia for whatever reason, it's really, after a while, it's pretty painful and distressing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this has been helpful. Julie, take away.
I'm just appreciating how grounded and calm I feel after observing the mania, like the up and the down, the all around, and also kind of living it the past couple of weeks. And sort of as a side note, something I've forgotten to share, I remade my business cards and I wanted to share. It's a simple kind of text change.
I got one too. I just got one yesterday too.
They just arrived before I came. This is not the imagery, but I changed the text and I stripped out the list of services and chose this descriptive. Did it make it to you?
Yeah, there's one.
Oh,
Is it one more? And made the font bigger and
just Diane.org.
Wow,
Bam.
that's awesome.
How the hell did you get that one?
I know.
I've been around a long time. I'm older than I look.
Oh, and someone last year, a friend of mine got nlpsf.com, and I thought, how the fuck did you get that domain this late in the day?
Well, everybody released their domains in after the crash in 2002. But I've had mine since '97. But
You are an early adopter.
but it's true. After the last crash, people let go of a lot of things. Anyway, but it was the process of stripping out just deep tissue myofascial release
I love
and
that.
coming up
Awesome.
with that felt good last week.
Did you get these through Vistaprint?
Mo.com.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you can do up to 25 different designs on the front.
Oh, look at that.
They're all different
Oh,
pictures.
what that Nautilus is.
Oh, I have a frond.
I have a frond.
Yeah. So I'm still.
I have a leaf.
Frangie, Frangie, Frangie.
So we're fronds.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. And Julie?
Well, I'm not gonna be here next time, so I just,
Well, and I'm gonna put on an email please don't bet on it,
Okay.
but I'm gonna see if there's a rescheduling option here.
Have you ever tried Doodle?
I have.
anyways, I don't have a specific takeaway for tonight. But in general, I have found it very useful, and I do marvel at both the simplicity of constellations and just how right they are. It's really kind of amazing. And I like the idea of being able to just sort of use that also as an individual resource. So, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And all the wisdom from all of you.
And again, even if for whatever reason you or others can't make it to the last one, I really do encourage you, if you feel any bond with each other, don't let it go. If these are useful colleagues to you, use them. I've got a woman who I was in a Heart of Business spiritual development course about 2 years ago. We've been meeting almost every other week to do Heart of Business, basically remembrance, prayer work on our businesses for about 2 years now. It's been really, really valuable. So if you have a colleague here that you can use, and the feeling is mutual, consensual collegiality, by all means use it. And I will be sharing with you opportunities to be in the advanced group, which is a really nice group as well. But we got one more time. And you may, if we keep it at the same time, you may be able to join by Google Hangouts, which would be great. Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yay!
Oh.
Vicki, were you able to do the time that Diane and I?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Whatever day is Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll be in Florida at my mom's retirement home.
And what are those dates?
I think it's.
Well, okay.
Class on Tuesday nights?
I'm actually, so I'll be in Florida from June 29th
And,
until, I think,
I'm
July.
pretty sure I can, I just don't have the schedule, guys. So what's on it? And what are we doing?